Hey everybody, so we are continuing our Devo thoughts, talking about, we've been using tracing the thread as our theme in our Wednesday night Bible class. We're looking for the gospel throughout the story of the entire Bible. And so we're kind of in that period of Joshua, Judges, and Ruth right now. And so that's what some of our Devos are going to be in the next couple of times. So this verse comes to us from Joshua chapter 6, verse 16, and it says, "At the seventh time, when the priest had blown the trumpets, Joshua said to the people, 'Shout, for the Lord has given you the city.'" You know, one of probably the best board games out there, the kookiest board games out there, is a game called Quelf. In Quelf, when you land on a space, you choose a card, and the cards have you do some various activities on there. It could be act out something funny, or make something out of Play-Doh, or answer a trivia question, or draw something, or come up with a funny rule. It sounds simple, right? But the things Quelf has you come up with are hilarious and random. You may end up with a beard made out of toilet paper, or you write a haiku about cat whiskers, or you're doing an interpretive dance about nachos. You just never know when you play this game. You know, sometimes God's instructions to his people sound super weird. When you read Joshua 6 and you see the instructions of what they're supposed to do when they're going to go into this battle to take the city of Jericho, it sounds kind of like something you'd read on a Quelf card. I mean, God's answer to their problem was to march around the city once a day for 6 days. On the seventh day, remember what they were to do? They were told to march around 7 times, to blow their trumpets and to yell. I mean, it sounds pretty ridiculous. And in fact, the people inside of Jericho, we don't know what they were doing, but I can imagine they were probably laughing at first. But God pulled through and used the situation to spread Israel's fame across the land and making God's name great. It may have seemed silly at first, but the win in the end was worth it. So a couple of things to think about as we think about that story from Joshua. Number one, are there any things that God asked us to do that seem a little odd to us at first? Is there something that we think, man, that's weird. Why do I have to do it this way? How could God use those things to help spread his name? Number two, what are some very practical ways that you can use your influence to make God famous? What are some things that you can do to make his name well known wherever you go? Those are some things to think about. I don't know if you're ever going to play the game Quelf, or ever have to do something that you feel like, man, this is just flat out silly. But remember that when we read these stories about Jericho and a lot of the things that took place in the book of Joshua and Judges and Ruth, we see God's influence and we see God's name being praised and becoming more and more well known among the people.